Hey y'all, it's the Lorcana Grinder here. I'm Raven.
And I'm Alex. Today we have a match between on the right, Stitch Turbo versus Stitch Turbo on the left.
We're playing with proxy cards of the new Disney card game Lorcana, releasing August 18th this year.
Once the cards come out, we'll be playing with real cards. So right now they're mulliganing, deciding to fix their starting hands. In this game, you're able to put any number of cards from your hand to the bottom of the deck, draw the same number, and then after you shuffle your deck, you hand it to the opponent to recut, so that the deck is re-randomized. Person on the left rolled a 5. Person on the right rolled an 8, so they get to choose. Most likely they're going to start, because in this game, going first gives you an advantage.
Specifically with this deck.
Yes, yeah, there could be decks in the future that have advantage going second, but with the current card pool, a lot of decks gain advantage going first. Reveals Rockstar Stitch, place it in the inkwell. Taps it, summons his Hey. Then he passes. Hey is a good starter. Adds advantage quickly. Adds attack to a dude. It's just a okay starting off card. Reveals Yzma, I can't say that. What is it?
Reveals Yzma.
Yzma, yeah.
Which, not my first pick for putting something in Inkwell, just because she's a pretty good card. She allows you to quest, look at the first card on top of your deck, decide whether you want to keep it at top or bottom. So it's really good for future play if you have it in your hand, but you can inkwell it, I guess.
I inkwell Broom, and then I play Lantern. Lantern, huge for tempoing. Card's one of the best cards in the game right now. Passes. He's thinking what he's going to put in his inkwell this turn. The Chameleon's really good. A very good starter. Starting off with the Chameleon, or what's his name? Pascal? Pascal.
I am your Disney expertise, I promise.
It puts a lot of lower pressure because early game you're able to quest him very, very easily, because being able to have evasion and be protected from being attacked, you're just getting one more every turn to get tempo. They did the same thing, place Lantern, huge advantage. Summons his Olaf. Now that Pascal has evasion, so we can quest freely, and my Hey can't attack it.
Thank you for finally remembering the dumb chicken's name.
I inkwell
LeFou.
LeFou. See?
And summons Yzma.
Yes. Yzma's insane for tempo, like she said. Being able to look at the top cards, wild, especially late game when you get Stitch. Just being able to make sure your top deck's good for that draw.
It currently is a pretty good tell on what the other opponent's hand is, though, because they're mirror matched right now. If they quest Yzma and they have enough to bring out a Rockstar Stitch and they look at the top of their deck and that's who they're pulling next, it definitely gives you an upper hand as the opponent to see what might be coming and.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I forgot to mention that. Me putting Rockstar Stitch in my inkwell the first turn gave him knowledge that I have a second one in hand. So these are small things you can just catch up on while playing. Same thing, Yzma.
Yeah. It's a good play every time.
Just does so much tempo.
It helps even when you have Rockstar Stitch on the field already and you're looking for all those 2 and lowers. If you can keep pulling and keep going, or if it's going to stop dead in its tracks, give yourself a chance, put it at the bottom of the deck, and hope that the next one's 2 or below as well.
Exactly, and that's what we did there. We looked at the top card, we decided to keep it there, so it's definitely a good one. Or good in the sense of it's going towards our plan. Requesting Maleficent and Hey, getting 3 lore. Maleficent, insane. The ability to gain 2 lore off of 1 drop just gains so much advantage so quickly.
Yeah, I feel like I've lost a lot to that lately, huh?
Yeah. When I was playing against person on the left here, every time you have a Maleficent on the field, it just puts so much pressure. Thinking about what to put in the inkwell. Stitch, New Dog in the Inkwell. Different from Rockstar Stitch, the best card in the game.
Currently.
Yes, with the...
But also the best character from Disney to exist, so...
With the very low card pool currently, there's not many cards that can deal with a swarm of low-cost creatures on the field.
So, player on the right, stacking his cards vertically to make space?
Yeah, that's just to show, like, what's quested, and because once these decks do stuff, they get a lot of stuff on the field.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to keep track. I think, like, sometimes Rockstar Stitch can have upwards of, like, 11, 12 creatures on the field.
Yeah, that's true. So it's definitely going to have to be something considered when the game starts being played.
Quest the Yzma, because the top card keeps it on top. Pascal attacks into Maleficent, getting out of the field, so that...
A little less pressure.
Yeah, the 2 lore every turn does so much. And then quests the Olaf, looks like.
Pretty even matchup so far, though. 5-6, correct?
Yeah. The tempo's about the same. Both players don't have any significant advantages.
Until
Both
they get
have
Stitch on the field.
Yeah, both have lanterns, both have Yzmas. Those are very strong tempoing cards. Player on the left has a little bit more monsters. Looks like player on the right has 2 cards in hand now. So cards in hand are the same. So player on the left has more resources. But there he is. Rockstar Stitch just came down, so next turn, depending on his hand setup, he'd be able to just start gaining huge advantage off Rockstar Stitch.
It's interesting how he got him on the field, though, because a lot of times you can place him on top of another Stitch had you only pay 4. So usually that would be a faster, more efficient way to get him on the field, but unfortunately, apparently there was neither pulled by either side.
The player had to hard make him, which you get him out on, in this case you got him out on turn 5, which is still 1 turn sooner than 6, but in this case, he summons his Stitch New Dog, then he's able to tap 4 and put his Rockstar Stitch on top. So the player on the left has huge advantage right now.
Yep.
And that mechanic's called Shift. Other creatures have it. Right now, the ruling with it is when you shift on a character, if the character was already on the field, which it wasn't in this case scenario, you'd be able to quest, challenge, do whatever you want because the creature you placed it on, its ink already dried. But in this case, since Stitch New Dog was placed this turn, it still has ink drying effect. So that Rockstar Stitch can't quest or do anything this turn. So he quests his... he quests the 2 Olafs and the Yzma. Looks at the top card, gains some advantage. He attacks Hades into Hey. Hades takes 1 damage. Resets all the cards. Draws for turn. Quests the Yzma to see top card if it's going to go and play with the Rockstar Stitch.
He keeps it up.
1 for Olaf. Comes in sideways. He just does the move all in once. Comes in regular, but then Stitch exerts it and it draws a card. Summons his... I don't know that dude. What's his name?
Well, upside down at the moment. Is it the Beast?
No, it's the guy from Belle.
The Beast?
No. The little dude that follows Gaston around.
Oh, LeFou.
LeFou, yeah. So he summons his LeFou. I'm terrible at that. Summons his LeFou, summons his Minnie Mouse draws, summons his Stitch draws. So he got 4 monsters on the field, essentially for free, because every card you're just drawing off Stitch. It's just free. He started this turn with 2 cards, he still has 2 cards in hand. So
but they still have to tap 1 in their inkwell every time that they draw the 2 or below in order to draw again for Stitch, correct?
No, so the tapping is just to summon the creature. So in the case of
LeFou.
LeFou, he taps 2 to summons it, but then all Stitch does is tap the monster that's on the field, or the character.
Okay.
And then you're able to draw the card. So as long as you still have Inkwell to continue to tap and put down new characters.
That's what I mean is every time you want to put one of the monsters down, you still have to tap at least one in the Inkwell in order to put it down and then draw the next one that's free.
You have to tap the amount that the creature costs.
Okie doke.
Looks like they're thinking what they're going to do with their monsters, talking out different things they can do.
There's only 11 and 12 more.
Yeah, and right now the left player has 1 for Olaf, 1 for Olaf, 1 for Hades, 3 for Stitch, and then 1 for Yzma. So they got 7. So they're going to quest to look at the top card.
Thinking. Hard.
Yeah. It's a big thing.
Listen, coming into this game as someone who barely plays the card games that she knows now, it is definitely a new strategy process. This isn't like something like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or well, anything else really. It's its own card game that has new ways to play.
Talking out, this is test playing, so we do take back moves because the whole point of this is to become the most optimal we can before the card game comes out. And by this, you're able to talk through some plays, talk through some different strategies. So right here, the player on the left plays the pocket watch, but then we discuss over, we're like, oh, that play might not be the best play, and putting in the Inkwell is actually the better play. So they realize that, they put in the Inkwell on tap, and they realize that the card they put with Yzma didn't really put, but knew it was there. It's going to help them combo, and then they're able to get another free monster, free draw. Now if that card's a 2-drop or less, which it is, Minnie Mouse, they're able to, same thing, get another free card. Stitch, another free card. This is the power of Rockstar Stitch, the ability to just swarm the field. That singular card in their hand turned into 5 cards. And now it puts the opponent on a very difficult situation, because if they choose to quest everything, they gain 6, which puts them at 15. Which puts them way ahead, because...
You're talking about player on the right, correct?
Player on the left.
Player on the left is essentially...
Because,
yes, if he quests now, the problem is, but this is putting the opponent on very much on the offensive side, because if he doesn't knock out some of those monsters, and, you know, he chooses to quest all of his, he still doesn't have enough to beat the player on the left, who can then quest all of his cards and most likely win.
So right now,
most likely, definitely win.
They're figuring out math and which ways they can quest their things to maximize the amount that they can get. Oh yeah, and another thing, we're all still learning this game. You can only challenge creatures sideways. A lot of hand motions. We're trying to figure out where we play different card games, so we're just used to be able to attack monsters, but in this game, unless if a creature is turned sideways, it is safe from battle. So
which is another interesting thing, because here are all these big guys, like Rockstar Stitch per se. It's hard to kill him in the first place, but you have no reason to quest him until you need those last few. It's very difficult on the opponent's side, because they're losing, oh, this one has 1, this one has 1, which can be significant, but at the same time, it's...
And that's what they're talking over here. They're counting up the lures, figuring out that putting Rockstar Stitch and questing him here is the opportune time to do it, because those 3 lore do so much because of those free monsters they put on the field. They gain so much advantage for them with the amount of lore that they're able to acquire next turn. So it puts the player on the right huge on the offensive. They have to figure out what combination of attacks, if there is any, to be able to wipe out enough so that he can't quest 5.
Yeah, it's those last 5 that player on the right now has to really.
And right now, all they got is, they do have a decent amount of creatures that they can attack with.
But they also have to remember that they lose theirs as well.
They do.
In a lot of cases.
Oh, as they just pointed out, they got the Pascal up there, and Pascal has evasion now because he has a creature on the side of the field, and the player on the right doesn't have any creature with evasion. So Pascal is up there, and he will stay on the field no matter what. There's no combination of attacks that can get Pascal off the field. So when doing math, he essentially has 16 lore already, because the Pascal's going to be on the field no matter what.
Yep.
So he has to figure out a combination to bring the opponent down to only being able to lure 3 times, so that he would be left with 19. So he swings Stitch into Stitch, both take 3 damage. Swings Baby Stitch into Rockstar Stitch to knock out and banish the Rockstar Stitch and the Baby Stitch.
Very smart play, though, because it was the highest.
Yeah, you get 3 lures so much. Just
Makes
moving the creatures
difference. Get a better view.
Yeah, there was a lot of creatures. There was 1, 3, 5, 7. It was 9 creatures on that field. So right now they just got Yzma, LeFleur. I'm not gonna get this. Minnie Mouse and Olaf that can attack. So with those 4 monsters, they need to find the 4 most efficient monsters that they can wipe out. Alright, so Olaf wipes out Hades, and Hades wipes out Olaf. Or if you want to do a funny jokey, it makes Olaf melt.
It's not very nice to Olaf now, is it?
I know, Olaf did his duty.
He is one of the best cards for playing Rockstar Stitch, because he is so low and he has 1 lore. You know, if you're lucky, you have enough of them on the field that they can't kill them all.
Yeah, he doesn't do a lot of damage, but he has a lot of life points, so he's able to stick around, gain a couple of lore, get that tempo up. Oh, we didn't even know. Yzma got rid of his LeFleur.
Oh my goodness. I don't think you're allowed to ever play him in your deck.
I know. Can't even say his name. Minnie Mouse beats Yzma. Takes 2 damage.
What an OG she is.
Yeah, Minnie Mouse is cool. There's a card in the deck, we didn't see it this game, but called Moana, which whenever she quests, it readies all your princess cards. And right now, Minnie Mouse and Moana are the only 2 princess cards in the amber color category.
Is Mickey considered a princess card?
Minnie is, yeah. Mickey's not. Mickey is a hero.
But Minnie, I find that interesting.
Or at least that specific one, because Minnie's a princess there.
Yeah, it's playing both of these decks. I find it to be really difficult to play Moana because Minnie is the only other one at the moment. So there's not really a upside besides lore to have Moana in your deck at this moment.
No.
It's essentially just another, like, plausible, I guess, card to put on the field when you need just...
You need lore.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, it's Inkwell.
Yeah. She's a higher one, correct?
She takes 5.
She's 5? I thought it was 4. Crazy me.
And as you can see, the writing's on the wall. Player on the right wasn't able to remove all 5 creatures. So all they gotta do is just tap and quest all 5 of their dudes, and player on the left wins.
The real question is, player on the left, are they getting ambitious with those cards in their hands and deciding to just play them on the field for overkill?
Yes, they do. Insult to injury.
Wonderful.
But once again, we're learning the game, so we're just trying to figure out how things are played. Like in this case, Lantern can't be tapped for a song card, so good thing to learn. They're able to add back the Rockstar Stitch, so even if they weren't winning this turn, they have good follow-up play for the next turn. Which that's all about figuring out what plays you can do this turn and what plays you can do next turn so that you can be just as potent.
Really rubbing salt in the wound here, isn't he?
No. And then he goes.
Quest
He
1,
all
2, 3, 4, 5.
There it is. That's the game.